Oh, there we go. That's a good start. Alright. Hello guys, welcome to another live stream. You are immediately going to notice that the quality in terms of audio is not perfect today, and that is because I forgot to charge my microphone. So, I'm currently using the MacBook microphone, and I'm going to give the Sony one a chance to charge, so I should connect into it when it's got a little bit of charge. But for now you're going to have to deal with this pretty bad audio again, so apologies for that. Also apologies for being late. I was aiming to be on time and then I realised I had no charge, so I was just trying to get that sorted out off camera. Alright, so how are we all doing this evening? I'm going to try and get some more painting done because we have, well, I say we've achieved a fair bit this weekend. It's not finished, unfortunately, even though I wanted to finish it, but we are very, very nearly there. So I've added a few things. I have got the bridges both finished now. I got the railings done over the weekend. I painted them red. I put some rust effects on them. I put a few transfers on them and some liquid pigment, so they look pretty decent now. Glued them all on. I've stuck both bridges on with no more nails, just to... Oh, Jock says audio's okay. Alright, that's not too bad. I don't think it's going to be as good as the... I don't think it's going to be as good as the Sony, to be fair, Jock. We'll try to unspruce some minis. Do it, Jock. Get something done. Do it. Make it a productive evening. Alright, talking about productive evenings, I'm going to try and do a little bit more on this, and I want to do two things. So I've added these little tarps. You should be able to see them on camera. I've added like 3 of these little tarps, just to make it a little bit more thematic. I used wet wipes for them, sprayed them green, kind of used some water and PVA mixed together just to kind of hold them in place. But they look pretty good. I think they just need to be darkened down a little bit, so I was going to do that with some camo shade. And on top of that, I want to do some more work on the statues because I still only have 1 statue. And I need the other 7 to finish the pillars. So yeah, I think we will probably start with... I think we'll start with the statues, to be fair. I think that's probably the smart idea, and try and get some of them done. Just so we can get them glued down and get it done, basically. So, alright, let's do this. I didn't actually prepare properly today, which is a bit stupid, because I've left all the statues over here. So, bear with me a second as I squeeze through here. Alright, so let's get these. I will also show you my little tarps that I made. Cool, that was graceful. Alright, so look at this. These were really, really easy to make, and I've seen a bunch of other people make them on sort of Instagram, social media, but it is just a wet wipe that has dried out. I've sprayed it green, and then you can kind of crumple it back up again, just to kind of loosen it up a bit. And then when it's done, you can just kind of unfurl it, dunk it in the water in your PVA, and place it wherever you want on the board, basically. So I chose to drape a few of mine over the sides of the bridge. But yeah, it's kind of like a really neat little addition, I think. Just to look like old tarps that have blown away in the ash wastes and give it a bit more character. So, let us work on some statues. I've got a few that are kind of ready for dry brushing, so I might go ahead and start with some dry brushing. The other ones still need a coat of Araman blue. That's the base coat, and then that's followed by lilac oxide. And then obviously once that's dry, I can give it a dry brush of bronze kind of colour. So that is what we are going to go with. In fact, I don't have the dry brush here, so I am going to use Ahriman Blue. I don't have anything. This is crazy. I am so unprepared today. Off to another fantastic start on stream. Alright, let's get what I need. So, Lamy and medium, and we need the dry brush. We also need the bronze. Where's the bronze? Balthazar gold. Well, it says it's gold, it looks more like bronze. And then a tiny sort of dry brush, a lighter dry brush of brass scorpion. So, right, let's get to it. Let us start with, that's a little bit closer. I think we'll start with some dry brushing. So I'm going to use some Balthazar gold. King of the Dead, evening all. Good evening, King of the Dead. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing this evening? We're kind of, I was going to say we're struggling with audio a little bit today, just because I'm using the microphone on the laptop. That's why you can see it on screen a little bit closer. I forgot to charge my Sony mic today, so great start. But as long as you guys can hear me nice and clearly still, then it's okay. We will get through it. We're kind of working through the final stages of this section now. So we've pretty much just got to do the statues, because our bridges are done, tarps are done, we need the statues done, and we also just need to sort of glue these shipping containers down and make our ladder up to the top. But other than that, we are ready to move on to the next section of the build, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm sort of trying to balance out, when it comes to details, how many details I put in this build. Because if I had my way, and I had all the time in the world, I would go to town on it. But we have to be a little bit more restrained, sorry, because we have a time scale for this one. But that being said, still trying to get as much detail into it as I possibly can. And I know I patted myself on the back a lot during last stream, but I'm going to do it again this stream. And I'm going to say that I'm very happy with how the statues are coming out. So, there's a fairly new method to me that I've been using for the statues, which is not using a metallic underneath when dry brushing. So I'll go straight on to, I'll use a grey as the undercoat, then I'll use my Ahriman Blue mixed with some Lamium Medium. And then finally I will use a watered down Nailac Oxide, and from there you just dry brush your metallic directly onto the miniature, and it gives a really nice effect. It's just kind of that natural bit of bronze that is protruding through the oxide. So very happy with it at the moment, and I just need to crack out another 7 of them. And then that's the statues done. And essentially we're just tinkering around with a bunch of other little bits. But they should be done come Wednesday, and we can start working on section 2. So yeah, look, I've done a little bit of a dry brush on this, but you can already see the kind of bronze colour coming through, which is really nice. So it's given that kind of, oh, there we go. Oh, you were there a second ago. So it's given that really weathered look, but really enjoy it, really happy with how it turns out. And it's quite easy to achieve as well. So it's not exactly like a stressful method for metallics. And I'm sure it would transfer well to other miniatures like tanks and machinery and stuff. King of the Dead, it's been a good weekend. Just finished up painting the cape for the Custodian Captain for Heresy. Well done, King of the Dead. It's been a productive weekend then, all around. My weekend has been spent pretty much non-stop working on this project. So yeah, it's been fun, but it's there's been a lot going on. Your painting method will mimic more realistic copper oxide. I quite like it. Thank you, King of the Dead. Again, this is all kind of learnt from checking out what other people are doing on Instagram. Because there's some really effective methods that I just never sort of considered. So this was one of them that I've seen fairly recently. And yeah, it's just kind of just a quicker method really, which is kind of what we need right now just to get the project to where it needs to be. Because I would like to be sticking stuff down on section number 2 come about Wednesday. And I've got plenty of ideas lined up for it. I think we're going to use a few of the sort of landing pad slash rocket silos as a base. And then from there we're going to add a bunch of the Ash Waste Nomad Habs. So yeah, it's going to be like a encampment sort of thing. Enough off of our brush. I like to have a very, very light dry brush when I do this method, just because less is more, and the less you have on your brush, the harder it is to kind of over apply the paint. So I tend to make sure I've whipped most of it away before I start dry brushing. I'd be keen to see whether you've got any other good methods, King of the Dead. If you have any good metallic methods that I could experiment with. It's just so good. I love seeing it come together in front of my eyes. We still will give it a tiny dry brush of was it Brass Scorpion, just for a little bit of a pop. But even with these colours, it looks really good. Just a fat dry brush does the trick. You don't really need a small dry brush, just a big one to pick out those flatter edges. It depends on what I want to do. Dry brush metal is quite easy and quite nice. I do that for the last highlight on my Custodies. It looks good. It does, the Custodies. I have had a good look at them on the Discord. They are looking very, very good. For rust, I have stippled browns, oranges and blacks before a dry brush of iron. I'm quite happy actually, King of the Dead, with the method that I've used for sort of rust, which is very, very similar to what you've just said, but the only thing that I've done is I dry brush the iron before Chaos Black, and if I give a really, really light dry brush of Chaos Black on top of the sort of iron lead belcher colour, it gives that really worn kind of rusted effect, which is nice, and then the pigments do most of the heavy lifting. I definitely wouldn't go without pigments now, just because they are really, really helpful with achieving that kind of dusty, rusty look. Give that a shake up. There's something I do think I need to get a new pot of is some oil wash, because I've been using like a dark brown wash for the railings, and it's kind of gone a bit globby and gloopy, and I think it's because I've had it for like 3 or 4 years, so probably need to get a new one. King of the Dead, for tarnishing metal, oil washes with the right colours, for tarnishing metal, oil washes with the right colours will help. I have one oxide coloured one and a few rust coloured ones. Will let me do the streaks too. I have seen methods like that as well, King of the Dead, using kind of the oil washes and stuff. Especially like, I've seen a quite nice turquoise oil paint that they dilute and use for oxide. And I probably will try that at some point. I'm just trying to use some of the materials that I've got on hand, and obviously if I can get away with using your regular Nailac oxide and some other darker turquoise washes for a sort of verdigris effect, I will do it. But yeah, I do like experimenting with the other methods because I feel like it does look different. Add some white spirit to your pot of wash, it might be possible to get it working again. I will try that, because it still works, you know, it was still alright for the railings, but it's just gone a little bit globular, both of the pots. There's not too much of it left. I have been, you know, I have used it over the years quite a bit, but I'd like to just get the last little bit out of the pot before I have to buy any more. I like to make sure I got my money's worth when I'm using materials. Get the last little bit out of the pot before I buy any more. Give this a little bit more of a heavy dry brush. I'll find some pictures of my... Oh, pressed the wrong button there. I'll find some pictures of my Death Guard and post them on the Discord. They are heavily inspired by scale model painting. Do it, King of the Dead. Do it. I will definitely take a look. Yeah, I like having the inspiration just for different metal effects, rust effects, because you can kind of use, you can use different materials to get the same effect, because they'll still kind of look different. So it's quite nice to have it in your arsenal, because you can experiment with the effects that can be achieved using your water-based paints, and then adding some with your oil-based, and yeah, they just add a bit of diversity, really. I think we're already nearly there with this statue, so I'll show you guys exactly what it does again. I mixed my own washes with tubes of oil paint. It's hilariously cheap when comparing it to hobby brand stuff. Requires a lot more work to get it going though. But what doesn't? And the thing is, if you're saving money, King of the Dead, it sounds like the right thing to do. I'm not too bothered if it requires a few extra steps, instead of spending like 20 quid on a pot of oil paint, which I've definitely seen. You know, I've been to Hobbycraft here in the UK and seen some of the prices for oil paints and been like, nope, not happening. Cool, so here we go. Here is, I'm going to say statue number 2 because we've already got one painted. But just the effect you get with dry brushing is fantastic. I feel like dry brushing is just, it's become a bit more of a better developed technique over the past few years, and the dry brushes I have are really good. The Artis Opus dry brushes are really, really good. So that's my go-to. Alright, let's get this next one done. Same again. Same again, pretty much. I think this stream's going to be a bit of a conveyor belt this evening. I have a bit of a factory line going, dry brushing and painting statues. So it might seem a little bit tedious, but the thing is, it's all about getting the project done. And it happens when you're working on any big project, because I definitely have it when I'm working on the Golden Throne. There'll be times that I have a conveyor belt of the same piece going and painting it. Is what it is. But the thing is, once you put in that effort and you start seeing it come together, it is really nice. I imagine it's somewhat comparable to when you're painting an army of Space Marines or an army of any sort of miniatures. You get that little bit of tedium, but then when you see your painted army in front of you, it was worth it, you know? So I feel like it's comparable to that. And the thing is, I can't say from experience that it is, because I have never painted a full army. In all the years that I have been doing this hobby, I have never managed to paint a full 40k army. So it's a little bit ludicrous. King of the Dead, conveyor belt painting can work quite well. I dislike it, but I do paint faster when I do it. So for Tactical Marines Heresy, I will do that. Surely, King of the Dead, you have to for like Heresy stuff. Because a lot of those Marines just look the same, don't they? There's not too much... there's not too much of a difference between the models. I feel like it's cool because they're, you know, Horus Heresy and you've got the legions, but they don't tend to have much character. So surely you've got no other choice than to sort of batch paint and factory line paint them just to get them done. But yeah, it can be a bit of a bore sometimes. It might, you know, potentially be one of the reasons that I don't paint armies, is just because I get a little bit bored. So when I'm working on scenery, I feel like there's enough variation. And also I can just switch and do something else, you know. If I'm working on one area of this board and I get a little bit tired of it, I can work on something else. So it offers you a bit of choice. Buckshot81, good evening, good to see you working on the board. I plan to use a lot in the future. Excellent. Excellent, Buckshot. I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures, to be fair. And I just can't wait to get this table down to Hobby House so people can play on it. And we'll be moving on to section 2 about Wednesday, so it's getting there. We are absolutely getting there. And hopefully you guys have some very interesting games on it. King of the Dead, my first ever painted wargaming army was Army of Dunharrow, Army of the Dead, for Middle-earth. It was one with a light primer, 2 rounds of dry brush, a wash, and another round of dry brush. That does sound like factory line work there, King of the Dead. But, very cool army to start with. I spent a lot of my time sort of looking at the Middle-earth stuff when I was younger. Initially started with 40k, and then the Lord of the Rings films came out, and it was straight into Middle-earth for probably the best part 10 years, I think. Chojnal, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Wow, this looks phenomenal. I'll leave a comment just for engagement because it looks damn nice. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. YouTube does love the interactions. But the good news is, Chojnal, there is going to be a video about this project. It's going to be in three parts, so this section is nearly done. I've been recording the sort of behind the scenes working on it. So I'm going to stitch together a video, and that'll be out fairly soon. So there will be something for you to watch if you're not a big fan of live streams. So hopefully we can appease everybody, I'd like to think. But yeah, I know that not everyone who watches the stuff on my channel is big on live streams, which is absolutely fine. So we are still going to be doing the bite-sized videos. So about 8 to 10 minutes, I reckon, just showing the idea behind this project, a little bit about how I've done things and the sort of thinking behind it and the method behind the madness. So hopefully that should be out pretty soon. What I want to do is just get this final push and finish the section, so then I can start stitching the video together, basically. But since we are on the subject of engagement, if you guys are enjoying this stream, I would encourage you to stick a like on it, just so it gets pushed out there a little bit. Thank you very much in advance. Joshua, I'll have a look shortly. Thank you very much. I appreciate you dropping a comment. Buckshot, love a live stream. Something in the background that I don't have to watch too much while I'm at the painting desk. Well, I'll tell you what, Buckshot. I'm glad that's the way you kind of feel about it, because the idea behind these streams is a bit more of a hobby hangout sort of thing. You know, they're not too intense. I'm just getting little bits of this project done whenever I'm streaming. So it's more of a hobby hangout. Just you can ask questions if you want. You can just have me prattling on in the background. So it's just kind of, you know, laid back hangout. Ah, CH is pronounced H in my language. So Hodgnal. Hopefully that's correct. Hodgnal. Apologies. I get quite a few names wrong, Hodgnal. I do. And I've certainly seen some interesting ones on YouTube. Right. I think this just needs one more coat of dry brush. If Eternity should fail, sent a treat for 5 jewels. Thank you very much. I don't really understand the jewels thing yet, Eternity. But I appreciate it. I have seen it come up on YouTube, and there's some. I don't really know how it works, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Closer, but no problem, mate. Well, I'm sorry about that, Hodgnell. But if you want, if you're up for it, I have the Discord for this channel. So if you enjoy this kind of stuff, feel free to drop by there and give me the correct pronunciation. Otherwise, I'm going to be butchering your name every time I say it. If Eternity should fail, I don't understand them either. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I wonder if it's like when you hype a video, because I understand that kind of system. But I've been live streaming for like 2 months now, and never had any jewels. I did kind of assume that it was just for maybe when you're live streaming on your phone, but hey. Hopefully it boosts the live stream Eternity, that would be good. So after we've dry brushed this one, I'm going to have to give, because I've got another 4 of these statues, including a broken one, which I'm going to put on the board. I'm going to have it, I don't know, somewhere near the broken section, so I can have the broken piece sticking out the ground in the ash wastes. But we need to give these a coat of both Araman Blue and Lilac Oxide. So once we've dry brushed this one, we will have to go back to that stage just to get them ready for the eventual dry brush that they will have too. Hoynal would be closest. Hoynal. We'll go with Hoynal then. We can only hope you create some cool stuff. I hope so too, Eternity. I hope so too. This is my first big project, I think, outside of working on the Golden Throne. So yeah, it's given me a little bit of freedom. I get kind of free reign, which is quite nice with this project. And yeah, I just kind of hope I come up with something cool. I've got some pretty good ideas for our next 2 sections. Especially when it comes to the Hive City portion, because essentially that's going to be our biggest section. It's definitely going to be the tallest one. So I've had some time to concoct some ideas for that, basically. Excellent, Hoynal. Cool. I'm glad I got that right. Well, I'm glad I got it kind of right. I bet you it's still not perfect, but it's better than what I was saying before. Hey, we're all here. Frag Eye, Gloom Preacher, good evening, guys. How are we doing? I'm doing some dry brushing at the moment, guys, just to get these statues ready. They are coming together nicely, though. They are definitely getting there. And then, yeah, we're just going to do a few other bits and bobs. I did want to try, if we get far enough in the stream, with the little tarps that I've added. I want to give them another coat of camo shade, just to give them a little bit more tone and make them a bit darker. but I think we're going to power through with these statues first. It is excellent. Doing something right, Hoynal. Because I started this stream off and it was not going well. I didn't charge my Sony mic, so we're using the laptop mic this evening. And I didn't have my paints ready, didn't have my water ready, so I was about 10 minutes late, I think, to the stream this evening. Which I'm not sure YouTube appreciates. I feel like when you set up a stream, they want to see you here on time, otherwise it probably doesn't push it as much as it usually would. But hey, it's life, you get waylaid sometimes. Cool, so this one is very nearly done as well. I feel like moving forward, this effect I'm just going to use on... Every time I got to paint a statue, I am going to use this effect where you dry brush the metallics on last. Just because in terms of weathered metal, it's probably the best way to achieve the effect that I've come across. Eternity, Golden Throne is how I discovered your channel, and that's truly awesome. That's truly awesome. This Necromunda build looks great too, so I'm excited to see what other plans you have for the future. Thank you, Eternity. I think the Golden Throne is probably the biggest part of this channel. Granted, it's taken a little bit of a back seat for a while, just while we complete this project with Hobby House. But don't worry, for any of you who are kind of focused on the Golden Throne, it is going to be finished. I'm hoping to return to it very soon. But as I said, I've just got to get this project done. I say get it done like it's a chore. I love doing this. This is really fun for me. So it's not a chore, but what I mean is we'll get back to it as soon as this is done. It's fine at Nihilus. What's fine, Pragai? What did I miss there? What did I miss? Oh, was that the audio thing? Hoynal, sorry, I'm butchering this. I had it pushed on me for what it's worth. Oh, you had it pushed on you? What, the Golden Throne? Oh no, oh, you're on about the stream. You're on about the stream. I see. Well, I honestly don't know how YouTube sort of advertises this stream. Because I have a tendency to stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays, but I don't know how YouTube pushes it to people aside from the regular people who attend this stream. So it's kind of interesting to find out how. Oh, the audio's fine. Well, that's good for our guy, because it's supposed to be... It's coming off the Mac today. It's not coming off my fancy Sony microphone today, because I turned all the kit on, and the microphone that sits above the camera decided it needed charge. So yeah, we are going by the MacBook today, but as long as it works. Maybe it's the colours, it might be. I feel like the thumbnail is obviously like the main thing that attracts people when it comes to the, you know, the content that you end up clicking on. And I feel like it can also be really hit or miss. Because sometimes I'll put up a thumbnail and I'll have quite a few people viewing at one time, and then others, there'll be like, I don't know, a couple of people. So it's nice when it's a good thumbnail and YouTube pushes it out there a little bit more. Hoynal, the audio is strange. It's going to be today, Hoynal, because I haven't got my mic plugged in, my good one. I'm just going off the laptop audio, unfortunately, for today. But as long as you can mainly hear what I'm saying, it should do the trick for now. Oh, there's less clipping. Okay. The Mac has a very good mic. Well, that's alright then, as long as it's working, guys. Voice is low, but music is a bit high. Well, we can turn that down a little bit, and we can turn that right up to the top. So hopefully that'll be a little bit better. I do have to shout a bit more when I'm using the laptop mic. Graham, greetings, Graham. Welcome to the stream. We're just doing some dry brushing. I've just finished statue number 3. So here we go. I may as well get all 3 just so you guys can see them all in a row here in my hand. But again, for very sort of is that focusing? For a very minimal effort, I think they look pretty damn good. So we just need to base coat a few of these now with some Ahriman glue, and then we can get back to dry brushing. Hoynal better, excellent guys, excellent. We're still, at times I feel like we're still struggling with the audio a little bit, because obviously stream on Friday, some of you guys, especially Frag, I was saying it was clipping a little bit. So yeah, we still need to get on top of it, but I will do that when my stuff is charged. Gloom Creature, I told some of my Necromunda group about this project you're doing. A few of us might come to Hobby House to play some Necromunda when your table is ready. That would be awesome, Gloom Creature. That would be absolutely awesome. At some point when it's done as well, there will be an actual event. So I will be down at Hobby House doing, I guess, a meet and greet and talking about the project and talking about future projects. So when I get more information on that, I will put it on the Discord just so you guys can see. But that might be a possibility or of interest to some of you when it happens. But that's very cool. I appreciate you spreading the word as well, Gloom Creature. Hoynal, also music sounds something Fallout related. Well, Hoynal, my good friend Sebastian Kling, you can find him on YouTube under that name, Sebastian Kling. He makes a lot of music for videos, for not just my videos, other people's videos, but he is very talented at creating music, and he makes some very, very atmospheric music. So you can, yeah, you can find him on his channel, Sebastian Kling. I think he's the top one that comes up. But yeah, I love the music he makes. I'm thinking at some point, because I use this backing track quite a lot, I'm thinking of swapping it to one of the other ones that he's done. But I feel like it really sets the tone, sets the vibe for the kind of stuff I'm building, especially out in the ash wastes, the lonely ash wastes. Graham, nice. Thank you, Graham. Right, so I do need to give this dry brush a little soak. Get rid of some of that gold. So let's move on to Ahriman Blue on some of these statues. King of the Dead. The music made me think about things like Prometheus Studios or Dream Clinic. It does have that feeling. It really does. I think this is my favourite piece for live streams, but when I make my fully fledged videos, there's some more like upbeat, not upbeat, but you know, there's some like louder tracks, there's some more metal inspired tracks as well. So there's like a good broad range as well. It's not just the solely darker atmosphered stuff. Fragai, it's called Vernissage. You are an artist. Vernissage, Fragai. What's called Vernissage? I feel like every time I stream with you guys, I learn something, because on Friday I learned about the Universal Greebly, which was fantastic. Was that King of the Dead? Did you put that article in there? I think it was you, wasn't it? That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. I just had no clue, and sort of learning about the models that they made for Star Wars and the pieces that they used, I just thought it was really cool. So I feel like I'm going to learn something today about Vernissage. Oh, this is Hobby House. Might be related to why I got this pushed on me, because I watched the guy's podcast. It could be that, Hoynal. It could be that. This project, yeah, that we're building is for Hobby House. It's going to be available to play on in Hobby House in the near future. So yeah, that is probably why it was pushed. But it's good to know there's that cross-pollination. Not a meet and greet. Oh, I see. A vernissage. Brag eye. I'll start using that. No, you're right about the filter as well. Oh man, I got that right on Friday. Let's just check I didn't ignore anyone. Not a meet and greet, a vernissage. Vernissage is an artist making a presentation, basically, yeah. So that's what we're going to call it. It's a hobby house vernissage, not a meet and greet. Meet and greet. It does sound so daft compared to, like, vernissage. Ladies and gentlemen, I will be attending a vernissage at Hobby House in the near future. I'm just a simpleton, see? I use simple language. I need to expand my vocabulary a bit, I think. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this next part is I prime these statues with Mechanicus Standard, not Mechanicum Standard, Mechanicus Standard Grey. And my first step is I'll use some Ahriman, what do they call it? Ahriman Blue, which is like a kind of dark turquoise. So we use that as a sort of watered down base. And once that's dry, we'll move on to Nylic Oxide, which I also kind of water down with Lahmian Medium a little bit. And from there, I can just dry brush the metallics on. But as I said, it's a pretty effective method. Hoynal, in my language, it's vernissage. Vernissage? Vernissage or vernissage? Okay, do you know what else I need? Is a hydration break. I did come prepared when it comes to hydration. Vernissage? Vernissage? Where are you from, Hoynal? If you don't mind me asking. Where are you from? Which language are you speaking? Okay, so I can't remember what sort of ratio I use when it comes to this. I kind of eyeball it a fair bit. Realise I've got, where's my scissors? I bought these cheapy brushes just for quick work. So I got these from Home Sense here in the UK. But this one has a slightly longer strand than the other ones. Poland! Okay, awesome. I think you're possibly the first person I've spoken to watching from Poland. Although I did have Marcin watching a while ago, but I haven't seen him for a while. Let's see. The renowned artist, known from his masterpieces Golden Throne, one or two will attend a vernissage at Hobby House. It probably will be, Brag Eye. Because most of you guys are Europe-based. I can't see... I don't know. I can't see too many of you, potentially. Travelling all the way for my vernissage. Would be cool, though. Right, I need to wash this brush before I stick it in the Lahmian Medium. Probably can't see it from there, but I have this pot of Lahmian Medium which I've had for ages, and it's slightly brown now because I got a little bit impatient when I was painting a long time ago, and I stuck the brown brush in there, so now it's got a slightly brown tint to it. You can't really see it when you use it, but you can see it in the pot, if that makes sense. It's got kind of like a gross tone to it now. But that is what we're going to use. Because the sooner we get rid of that, the sooner we can buy a new one, a nice new clean one. Right, so I'll take a couple of brushfuls of this. I don't know how many. Again, I just absolutely eyeball this. And to be fair, I'm not a tutorial guy. Whenever you guys ask how I do something, I'll run you through my method, but a lot of it is kind of winging it, I think. Probably shouldn't be saying that out loud, should I? Like, oh, I'm totally winging this whole thing. Obviously, you get used to working a certain way. But I do a lot of experimenting. Cool, so what we'll do is just pretty much just smash this all over the... I wonder if you guys can... Yeah, you can see. I just smash this all over the statue now and it will run into all the crevices. And then, yeah, just smash out the other ones, get the factory line going. Hoynal, a vortex mixer is a great buy if you forget a lot of your paints. I do. And do you know what, Hoynal? I have one of those tucked away in the corner underneath the camera. It is a great bit of kit. And it definitely does, as you say, it helps me because I have quite a lot of paints. And I don't use them all that often. You know, I use certain colours more than others. And the vortex mixer does help bring them back to life when they've been sat unattended for a long time. But yeah, I would follow Hoynal's lead and recommend that to you guys as well for anyone who has a lot of paint that they don't always use, because it certainly helps. Most paints are not really far gone, they just need a good mix. I agree. Some of them take a little bit longer with the vortex mixer to sort of bring back to life. The only ones I find that do really struggle when they've been left too long are your paler colours. So any of your bone colours or your white especially gets really chalky, and then some of the lighter flesh tones as well. So they probably need a good mix a bit more often than not if you've opened them. Just because I've tried to go back to a few colours that I opened probably about 2 years ago now, and some of them are dead, not remixable. Now, I don't know whether that's because of the design of the paint pots, because I know there is a big flaw with the Games Workshop paint pots, or I don't know whether it's something to do with the ingredients in the paint. Fragi, I recommend a metal ball in every bottle. That's another damn good idea, Fragi. I should do that. Because I have it for some dropper bottles. I got a bunch of the metal ball bearings that came with my dropper bottles that I use for the airbrush. But that makes a hell of a lot of sense, actually. Fragi, can you remind me, please, if it's not too much trouble, can you remind me on Discord? Just at me and remind me to do that, because I think that's actually going to help as well as the vortex mixer. They get a bit grey. White pigment is large. That's probably it then, Hoynal. That's probably it. Because I find they're the ones that give me the most grief. You know, blues, metallics, just all the other ones don't really have a problem with. It's just when it comes to the pale colours, they really play up. Okay, we need another wash. That's why it clogs aerographs a lot. Thank you, Fragi. Thank you very much for that. Well, there we go. I've already learned something else. I learned two things this stream. Vernissage and white pigment being larger. But it is a pain because I find that I have to buy pale colours quite a lot. So especially when it's like bone colours, I've gone through quite a lot of them already. And not purely because I've used the paint. Paint mixing stream coming up. I don't think you guys would want to tune in and watch me mix paint for like 2 hours. I feel like that would be a little bit crazy. I don't know whether you're ready for that yet, guys. I think we'll stick to gaming board building and scenery building, not paint mixing. Okay, so let's mix a bit more of this up. We'll probably use most of what's left of this pot, because the statues are quite big, so they do gobble up a fair bit of paint. Try not to splash myself and my nice shirt with it. And hopefully by the time we get to the last statue, this one will be dry and ready for the next coat, so we can just keep moving forward. Hoynal, I'm a Terminator loving Dark Angels player. I know a bit about bone colour. Fair enough, I bet you painted a lot of it. See, I'm mostly painting skulls for my scenery. I've not had to deal with painting any sort of army that has lots and lots of bone colour. But I'll tell you what, if I did, it would all be done through the airbrush now. Because I've said it before, but I could not go back to hobbying without an airbrush. It's just been the handiest thing to have around. Obviously you have that learning curve, because when I've mentioned in the past about using an airbrush, a few of you have said, well, about the entry point and about the learning curve, but the thing is, once you've learned how to use it and take care of it, it saves you so much time. It saves you an incredible amount of time, and you can only get better with it. You can also practice on old models, just to sort of train yourself a little bit. But yeah, any bone colour, I would be using an airbrush. In fact, you know, we would not be here doing this without an airbrush, because all of the scenery has had an airbrush. Especially the bridge. The bridge took, I don't know, it didn't take that long, just because I'd done all the greys. I undercoated it with your Mechanicus standard grey, and sort of, what do you call it now? Zenithal highlight. I don't know why I forgot the word zenithal, but I gave it a bit of a zenithal highlight with your blacks and then a grey from top down. And then, yeah, the rest was done with an airbrush. And it leaves a nice effect. Yeah, and a good airbrush is key. See, Hoynal knows. An airbrush is good, an airbrush is king. Exactly. Exactly, Hoynal. I just love it. I absolutely love it. And it enables me to bring these as corny as this is going to sound, it enables me to bring these sort of creations to life, because I wouldn't be able to just sit here and use a large paintbrush, because it doesn't give the same effect. You know, with an airbrush you can really achieve the sort of different gradients and I don't know, and natural looking paint jobs when it comes to I know a bridge isn't natural, but you know, the way that a kind of light would hit a bridge, you can make that a reality, basically. Couldn't take it out of my arsenal now. Just realised how dodgy that sounded. Cool, so that's already nearly another one done. Just a little bit more on the top. Hoynal, as soon as I saw the gradient on the pillar, it's clear it's an airbrush. That's the thing, you just wouldn't be able to do that with a normal brush. You wouldn't. It would look bad, it would look rubbish. So I'm a changed man. King of the Dead, I will paint a unit of 20 skeleton warriors for TOW. What's TOW again? The old world, that's it. God, I'm an idiot. Brain's not working. I would paint a unit of 20 skeleton warriors for the old world completely without an airbrush. I expect it to be almost, if not faster with one, for that level of detail. I will say no, and I won't be able to paint for a heresy without one. All of my 3 paint schemes, Custodes, UMDG, are all done with one. Well, that's the thing, you know, it's also applying it when you need it. You know, there are definitely things that you can still do without an airbrush. Absolutely there is. But for me working on scenery and larger pieces, I definitely find it to be a godsend. Okay, swapping it over my fingers a little bit here. That's what I was panicking at a second ago. Just make sure. Cool. Nearly there. that will do. So we'll let that dry, work on another one, and then yeah, hopefully by the time we've done our last statue, we can yeah, by the time we've got to our last statue, we can come back and start dry brushing. Hoynel, anyone who say you can mimic a paint job with an airbrush does with a brush, only slower. It's full of shit. Yeah, that's the thing. I think it's also about how much time you're willing to spend, because I think you can use a brush and achieve some pretty good effects. You can certainly get all the details and stuff you need to. And I've seen people paint some really cool stuff just with a brush. But, you know, realistically, if you want to get your miniatures done in a timely manner and you're not painting every miniature up like it's a Golden Demon entry, it does pay to have a method of speeding it up. You know, this might sound a little bit daft, but it's only recently that I've realised you don't need every miniature you paint to be the best miniature you've ever painted. I feel like it's okay to just paint miniatures and then be okay, you know? Because otherwise you're just worrying about constantly painting to the best of your ability every time, and you know, sometimes you're going to paint something up and you're not going to like it that much, but that's just going to happen. You just got to go and do it. Base color is paintbrush only. Tertiary brush is 20%. Yeah, but you can do 20 layers of glazing. Yeah, I don't really fancy doing 20 layers of glazing, Hoynel. No, thank you. But it's just, I do find it kind of funny. It certainly held me back, because I was constantly thinking every miniature just needs to be painted well. And realistically, you just don't have the time to do that. You know, you don't have the time to make every one of your Space Marines from your army look like a Golden Demon entry. I feel like even though you look at the heavy metal stuff and it's fantastically painted by a lot of talented individuals, for your everyday hobbyist, I don't think it's feasible. Because I know there's people out there with the skill and the speed, but I feel like most people have one or the other. I feel like it's quite rare to hit the in-between where you are a really, really good painter and you do them quite quickly. Again, I don't know. There might be a lot of you. Maybe most of you guys are. You find yourself quick and skillful, but I feel like I only had one of them. But my painting's not that good, so I can't. Maybe it's not even skillful. Alright, we're going to need a little bit more paint. As I said, these statues do tend to eat the paint. So we're going to need to mix up another batch of Araman Blue and some some Lamium Medium. Choinal, I painted 20k points in 3 years because I like to play new stuff and I don't want it to stand out on the table. See? That's fair enough. And that's the thing, you've got to do it the way you want to do it. You absolutely do. It just took me too long to realise that, but through working on these large-scale projects, I have definitely found out. Because, you know, the Golden Throne is 4 years of work. And with the things I've learned, if I was to start it now, I feel like I'd be able to do it quicker. Or I'd be able to get to a more significant point in the build quicker. My minis look good at 30 centimeters, and that's good enough for me. I like that mentality, Choinal. I really like that mentality. I think it's good to be happy with what you've produced, you know, and kind of have a style that fits you, because you don't need to get right up close all the time and see the pupils and the eyes and everything. And I think it's healthy to be at a stage where you're happy with your work. even though it's not always guaranteed. Like I said, you're going to have times that you can be a damn good painter, but you're going to have times you paint something you're like, oh, I don't really like that. And there's nothing wrong with that either. You just got to keep going. Okay, so look. We're going to need to go and buy another Ahriman blue at some point. I think it might get the last few of these statues done, but I've used most of a pot, I reckon, on these initial coats. Start painting this one as well. But yeah, I will be happy by the end of this stream if I can sort of have all of these statues dry brushed, because I feel like, again, it's going to be a big milestone. So we're so close to the end of this section. You know, granted, I've got a few little things to do, left to do, but once these statues are done, they're pretty much the last big remaining thing, and then we're talking about little details that I can just add as I'm working on section number 2. I just don't want to leave any big pieces unfinished that I'll have to come back to. I feel like I get into a bit of a, described it before as a flow state, where I just want to keep working on whatever section it is or whatever piece I'm doing and not have to go back to anything else. Viacom Groove! How are we doing? Whoa, the table has really come along. Thank you very much, Viacom Groove. How are you doing this evening? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, we have pushed it forward, Vietcong. So basically I've got our 2 bridges in place now. I've put, well, actually I put pictures on Instagram. I didn't put them on Discord, stupidly enough. So I will do that. But they're looking pretty good now. I spent a little bit more time than I should have over the weekend, adding details to them, making sure they got proper doses of pigment powder. And I gave them an oil wash as well, which was a little bit more time consuming, because obviously you're applying it and then you're buffing it off to give it that effect. But I feel like they look really good, and you can look quite closely at these and they look pretty good, even though me and Hoynel were just talking about how you don't need to do that all the time. But I did make a little bit of extra effort to do that today. And then on top of that we've got our tarps. So we have 3 that I've put on the bridge, just to kind of look like they've, I don't know, rubbish that has blown up onto the bridge. I feel like they had quite a nice effect. I do need to darken them down a little bit, so I'm going to use some camo shade eventually. But yeah, you know, essentially we are getting there, and I feel like it's looking better each time. Viet Cong, I'm alright. I kit bashed some Nurgle cultists while I have a break from barbed wire. Fair enough. The barbed wire is looking really good, Viet Cong. The barbed wire was looking really, really good. Hoynel, is there a reason that you are using, you are not using enamel verdigris? Verdigris. There is, Hoynel. It's because this is what I have on hand, basically. So I'm just trying to use some of the materials that I already have in my toolbox, basically. It's not to say that I won't use different effects with oils and washes in the future, but for now, I'm finding it, well, 1, it's looking pretty damn good and I'm happy with it, and 2, it means I don't need to wait around to order another paint. So that is the reasoning. This is a commission, I guess. It is indeed a commission. So what we're doing is kind of balancing the amount of detail, because obviously if I was to follow this gaming table in a similar style to the way I've been building the Golden Throne, I would just be picking out every single little detail, and although that would be cool, Hobby House would not be getting their gaming table till 2030. So we want to get them their gaming table in a timely manner and just kind of balance the amount of details that we include. Because obviously I want it to be interesting, I want you guys to get immersed when you play on it. but I can't be there picking out every single bolt. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, is it? It's just going to take ages to get it done. So we're working. We're not working in a massively quick way, but we are working a bit quicker to what we usually do, if that makes sense. Just got to be careful when painting these, because it does so happen that the watered down Ahriman blue tends to pool at the bottom when you stand them up. So here I've just picked up one where it's starting to do that. I'm just kind of wicking it back up the miniature again. Just because I don't want a huge pool of verdigris at the bottom of my models. Choinal, would you be doing 5p per hour? It would have to work out something like that, wouldn't it? It absolutely would if I was doing all those tiny little details. And I don't think I could live off that, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just being a little bit more considerate with the details that we do pick out on this build. So there's still going to be some very interesting ones. You know, I've started putting some propaganda posters over the build. I have picked out certain details on the bridges. You know, we got the tarps, we've got some shipping containers. We are also going to have a few little gribbly bits around the ash waste themselves, and some skulls and some barrels. But we need to get these statues done first. So that is what we are going to do. But I feel like it is going to look really good when those statues are glued down. Just give it that last little pop that it needs. Viet Cong! I found out that corridor gangers make really good bases for Nurgle cultists. I can't take credit, as I saw a video on YouTube and I thought it looked really cool. That does sound cool. That's not something I've considered before, Viet Cong. They are, however, my favourite gang in Necromunda, just because they are a rabble of scum, basically. But it makes sense that you could build some pretty cool Nurgle gangers and cultists out of them. I have my fingers crossed for the next sort of models they get, because obviously Goliath and Escher have got that new box set where they've got some new sculpts, and I'm hoping they do the same for Cawdor. I think they will, but that is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. I do have a few Cawdor miniatures in my collection, but as you can guess, they are all sadly unpainted. Nearly done with this one, and then we've got to paint our sort of statue that's been smashed in half. And I feel like, are we missing one? I feel like one has escaped somewhere, so I'm going to have to look for that as well, because we have 8 into... Oh, I see him. I see him. But yeah, so Necromunda is definitely one of my main interests apart from 40k. And I love all the models and the scenery and stuff that the design team for Necromunda come up with. I've said it like 20 times now, but I have not played the game. I just really, really like painting and building scenery and the miniatures, basically. Viet Cong, I always thought that the Goliaths were based on Lord Humongous from Mad Max 2. That checks out. There's probably some influence there. Gloom Creature, Vansar feels a bit weak in the new Necromunda, even worse in close combat than they were before. I'm not playing to be competitive, but I don't want to lose every game. That sounds a little bit sucky, Gloom Creature. Is there anything that could possibly change with the release of the like character book, or the because again, like I probably don't really know what I'm on about here because I don't play the game. But could there be any changes when they get their sort of supplement book, or are they just going to get trashed this whole? Oh no! He was trying to escape. Did you see that? He tried to jump off the table. So I'm coming up with a Beastman Venator gang. That sounds very cool. I like the miniatures that they've done for, what did they, the Kill Team? They had the Beastmen. I thought they looked pretty cool. Never got around to getting them just because I've cut myself off for a little bit. I have. The last release I got was that Custodes battle group, and it's okay because that's going to go in the throne room, so that was the excuse for that. The rest of the stuff has been kicking around for a while, and that's only a portion of it. So yeah, I cut myself off because I don't have time to paint any miniatures at the moment. I'm just doing scenery, and when I'm not doing this scenery, I'm going back to the throne. Graham can't wait for Ratskins. I think you might be waiting a long time, Graham. I honestly think you might be waiting a long time. And to top it off, I don't think if they come back that they're going to look anything like they used to in the 90s version of Necromunda. So yeah, the jury's out on that one. We'll see. You know, I mentioned this last stream, but I'm waiting for Scavies because I showed this off last stream as well, but I will show some of you guys who might not have seen it because this is one of my little special trinkets that I have on my shelf. But here we have, I can never get a second name right, and I didn't get it right last time. Is it Karloff Valois? Oh, there we go. Not. There we go. Karloff Valois. And he's like the Scavvy leader, I want to say. But yeah, we haven't had a remake of the Scavvies yet. I'd like to see what they come up with. I'd love to see him as an updated model, to be fair. Gloom Creatures. Sadly, Van Saar's house rule is not that powerful. Hopefully they have buffed it a little bit that could give Van Saar a bit more of an edge in close combat. You don't want to get trashed all the time. I feel like that would suck. Even if you're playing a narrative game, you don't want to lose every game. Vietcong Groove, how funny would an Orc Outlaw gang be? There's so much potential, I think, when it comes to Necromunda. That's probably why it appeals to me. Also because it's one of the things that isn't Space Marines. It's not big, overpowered monstrosities, apart from Goliaths. So yeah, I just really like the setting as well, you know, Hive City gang wars. I still love 40k, you know, don't get me wrong, I still love my 40k, but Necromunda does hold a special interest for me. Graham, oh nice, Scabby Overlord. Yeah, I love him. I love that miniature. I don't know whether one day I want to take him out of that packet and paint him up, but I certainly would like to see a new plastic version of him. Big Brain! Hello, Big Brain. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing, Big Brain? You missed last stream. You did. You did. You were still mentioned last stream, though, Big Brain. We were putting bets on whether you were going to turn up or whether you were going to miss that stream. And you did miss it, but it doesn't matter. Like I say, these streams are always there for you guys whenever you want to stop by and hang out. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 2.5 hours, you are welcome either way. But to catch you up, we are just doing some statues today, Big Brain. This is the last, I want to say the last main element of this section of the build. So, as soon as we've got these done, we just have a few small bits to do, and that's it. And then we are on to phase 2 of the build, which I think you guys are going to like my idea for phase 2. I feel like you are going to like specifically what the Ash Waste Nomads have built their camp on top of. So I'd like to say it's going to be quite characterful, this second section. Graham, there was rules for Orcs, Eldar, Scouts, Chaos Marines and Marine Scouts in the Outlanders book. I didn't know that. Honestly didn't know that. I know that's... I think you're on about... Are you on about the old one though, Graham? You're on about like the Outlanders book from the 90s, not the... Do they even have an Outlanders book? Do they still call it Outlanders, or do they call it something else though? Apparently it's possible for me to miss a stream. Big brain, you can't be expected to be here every time. You honestly can't. If you miss a stream, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Because we know at some point we will see you again in the next stream. Gloom Creature, played out the finale of our Necromunda campaign back on Friday. I was a literal inch away from bringing the loot back to my deployment zone and winning. Oh, you were that close to victory, were you, Gloom? That close. That must have been a little bit sucky. Just a little bit. But it happens. It happens. Choinal, for me, Necromunda is more minis for RPG table at this point. My group is a bit focused to get into another game. That's fair. I mean, so to bear in mind as well, this table that we're working on is not specifically, you know, it's not just for Necromunda. You can play 40k on this, you can play Heresy on this. It's just that I'm going with a bit of an Ash Waste theme for it. But that's not to say you can't play other systems on this board. You know, you certainly can. Graham, yup, Gloom Creature. It was a 3v1v1 battle of three gangs raiding a facility defended by Spirers infested by Gene Stealers. Gene Stealers. That does sound very cool though. That makes me think, anytime I hear Gene Stealers in Necromunda, it makes me think of the Ruined Zone Mortalis stuff. And just like a nice board with that, and it's just crawling with Gene Stealers. Graham, Necro 95, my first GW game. Yeah, so I bet it doesn't have any of them anymore, does it? No Scouts, no Chaos Marines. Oh no, I need more paint. There I am dabbing the brush, and I need more paint. Big Brain, Eldar can add 2 inches to move. I bet they can. They're wily little things, aren't they, those Xenos? Gloom Creature, I killed 2 of the Spirers though, which sweetened the loss. Go out fighting. You go out fighting, Gloom Creature. Choinal, yeah, I definitely see an awesome encounter for a campaign finally on this. Yeah, I hope so. I mean, what I am really hoping for is that when you guys use this table, is that you take a few pictures of your games, just so I can get a feel for the kind of battles that are going to go on this thing. But the best is kind of yet to come with this, because we've still got to do our hive wall section, which is going to be pretty vertical. So yeah, this is kind of the most tame piece of the build, I'd say. Like, yeah, we got the big bridge and we got the dome and everything, but progressively the ante is going to be upped. So the camp will be a little bit busier than this section, and then when we move to the high wall, that's going to be a lot busier. So yeah. Fraga, I recently found my box of N95 Enforcers fully unpainted and in the original plastic tray. Still not sure what to do with them. Damn. Those were really cool. Because they weren't the Enforcers then, were they? Technically, they counted as, or they were RBTs, weren't they? Like, they didn't have a different design. It's only since they sort of relaunched Necromunda that you have Enforcers, and well, they don't even have RBTs in Necromunda now, do they? Because they got their own faction in 40k. But they are very, very cool. I used to like the style of them as well for our guy. Choinal, it would be epic, just a bit too much work for... Sorry. It would be epic, just a bit too much work for this epic session work. And Big Brain, Necromunda is a word of problems. Necromunda is a world of problems? It is. It absolutely is a world of problems. Gloom Creature, I'll take pictures when we play on the board. Could even write up a little battle report and put it in the Discord. That would be sick. That would be really cool, Gloom Creature. I look forward to that. Graham, wow, that's Treasures Arbites? I don't know what Treasures Arbites are. But then again, guys, remember that I just like the models. I literally just go, ooh, that looks cool. I have not read any of the books. I have not read any of the old books. So I'm probably like well outside of the sphere of knowledge on this one. Cool. Alright, so we need, let's get going, because we still need a few more coats yet. So I'm going to load up with some more Lamia Medium. And I am going to go and liberate that other statue that's across the room. I'm going to really chuck a load on, just so I don't have to load up again for a while. I suppose now is as good a time as any to remind you that if you are enjoying the stream, please stick a like on it, just so YouTube knows that it's not completely crap, and pushes it out there potentially to some new faces. And that would be very, very appreciated. I keep looking that side, but all my paints are already here. Right, Araman Blue. So yeah, we've already got 3 statues ready to go. We just need to get this other 4 done. I've been trying to be a little bit smarter when it comes to how I've been sticking the miniatures down on this table, sticking the scenery down. I've been using a lot of no more nails because I'm thinking that if this table is being played on and you accidentally catch your arm, you don't want something to ping off straight away. You want it to take a little bit of a pummeling. So no more nails is going to help me do that and help me achieve that. Be very hard to break them. Rover, yes sir, yes sir. Hello Rover, welcome to the stream. How are you doing this evening? It's good to see you again. Quokka's here as well, and Tiny Lord. Look, you're all coming in batches. This is fantastic. Had the first batch of regulars, now we've got the second batch of regulars. How are you guys doing this evening? How was your holiday, Tiny Lord? How was the canyon? We haven't seen you in a while. Okay, I think that should be mixed enough. So, start on... Yeah, I'll start on this bottom half and then I will go and liberate the other statue. Graham, what's the plan for the other table sections? Well, Graham, second section that I'll be working on come Wednesday will be our Ash Waste Nomad section. So, I mean, it doesn't specifically have to be Ash Waste Nomads, but that's what I envision in my head. So I will be building their camp. I've got loads of habs that Hobby House have provided me with. So I'll be using a bunch of them. I've also got some really cool other pieces, including some sort of rocket silo / landing pads that I'm going to use. Loads of scrap piles, and essentially we're just going to make a base out in the ash wastes. And then our third section will obviously be the Hive City wall. For this section I have lots and lots of Imperial Sector pieces. So those are going to be utilised quite heavily, along with a lot of Zone Mortalis pieces. And basically we're just going to have a massive hive wall. You will be able to see behind the wall as well, but not, you know, it won't be a huge area behind the wall. You'll have like a little bit of, the section behind the wall. I'm hoping to have like a, or kind of portray like a Planetary Defence Force garrison in there somewhere. But it's going to be quite run down, so in my mind it's going to be like a section of the hive that's somewhat, I say somewhat neglected. you know, when you get down that far anyway to ground level, it's pretty all neglected, pretty much all neglected. But basically it's going to be like a quieter part of the hive where there's only like a single garrison of troops. So everything's going to be kind of run down, hanging on by a thread. A barely manned outpost, I think you could call it. Pardon me. Quokka, the gang's all here. How's the chair still holding? Strong for all of us. It is. It is, Quokka. The chair is still doing his job, and he is still available to use for all the green names. Don't forget that. You can spam, if you're a green name, you can spam sad chair in the chat now. You have access to a new emoji. Tiny Lord, doing good, still on it. On my way to Vancouver in a moment. Fantastic. I didn't realise you were still away. That sounds great. Grand Canyon was amazing, although there was a town called Sedona we saw on the way, and it's arguably more beautiful. That sounds fantastic. I am glad you're having a good time. I have a holiday booked in a few weeks' time to go to Switzerland for a long weekend, which I'm very, very much looking forward to. Obviously, there won't be a stream on the Sunday, but I'll let you guys know nearer the time when I'm going. Tiny Lord, spam and sad chair. There we go. He's got it. Big Brain, as the new semester begins, I'll be a lot more busy. Oh, that's understandable, Big Brain. That is absolutely understandable. You've got to put your studies first. But you always know that you're welcome to join whenever. We'll still be following the standard schedule when it comes to streaming. So I'll be streaming from Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Oh, that sounds so cool. I hope it looks as cool as I'm making it sound, Graham. Got a lot of work to do yet, though. Jock, those are normal brown chairs. I don't know what those are. I honestly do not know what they are. I think you're referencing the cult hit, which is sad chair. Big Brain, I think the Grand Canyon can't hold a candle, so... Ooh, all right, Big Brain. I'm sure Norwegian. I'm sure Norway is very beautiful. But I feel like each place is beautiful in its own right. I do very much want to go to Norway, but I think I would like to see the Grand Canyon as well. I'm sure they'd both be very beautiful. Tiny Lord, Switzerland should be lovely. I hope so. I'm hoping it's like kind of mild. I don't want it to be, really, really warm. I want to be able to walk around and not melt. But yeah, very much looking forward to it, guys. King of the Dead, gonna head out. Have a great night. Thank you very much for joining us, King of the Dead. We'll see you very soon. Thank you for joining the stream. Fragai, good night, King. Gloom Creature. Oh, they're just all saying good night to you. They're all saying good night to you, King of the Dead. Graham, every time I hear Ash Wastes, I think Gorka Morka, Diggers, Knobs Terrain. Yeah. I mean, there's kind of like a similar vibe, isn't it, really? Because Gorka Morka is still kind of a barren waste. Might not be quite as bad as the Ash Wastes in terms of all the, like, pollutants and shit and scrap. Well, one, because the orcs would take all the scrap. But two, I feel like the Ash Waste is probably a little bit messier. Maybe that's a game that needs a relaunch. What do you guys think about that? Gorka Morka. I used to really like the muties from Gorka Morka. They had some really interesting metal miniatures that you could get where they were mounted on these they call them, I can't remember what they called, the steeds. But I got a bunch of those. They were really hard to find, but I've got like 10 of them somewhere. Again, it's miniatures that I'll probably never get around to painting, but I do really like them. Journal depends on the time of the year. Well, it's going to be the end of August, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it won't be too hot. I don't mind if it's a little bit warm and sunny, but I want to be able to manoeuvre around without sweating myself to death. Switzerland will cool down a little next week. That's what I want to hear, Fraga. That is exactly what I want to hear. Troynal, mountains in the winter, not much walking. No, we're not going in the winter, we're going in about 2 weeks' time. Fraga, at least Zurich, and that is where we're going as well, Zurich. Graham, more history in the Ash Waste. I feel like it, Graham. I feel like there's more of a history to it, and it's a bit more interesting. I do really like Gorkamorka. I love the history of Gorkamorka. I like the what was it? There was the ship that crashed, smashed into the planet, and then you kind of had the muties evolve from the crew that were on that ship. So I do think it's really interesting, but I feel like Necromunda and the Ash Waste just have, like, you know, there is loads of lore, loads of history to it. So it kind of wins. It has the edge over Gorkamorka for me. Tiny Lord, Norway is probably nice, but seeing the mesas in Arizona helped feed into my world-building imagination. That's one of the nice things about traveling and seeing the different types of scenery. I feel like as a huge terrain nerd, it also feeds into my ideas. So I can understand what Tiny Lord is saying there. Troynal, have fun. That should be lovely. Thank you very much, Troynal. I'm looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to a little break away with my partner and just chilling out for a bit. And then when I get back, it will be back on track with the Ash Wastes and the Hive City. Still 2 weeks away yet, so I'm hoping that by the time we leave, there's going to be a nice big chunk of the second section completed. Just because then I will be able to go on holiday feeling like I have achieved something. Tiny Lord, my homebrew chapter is meant to be from a mesa type planet? Mesa type planet? It sounds good though, Tiny Lord. Either way, a mess planet or a mesa planet. Troynal, have fun, that should be lovely. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Graham, humans hiding in the Necron tombs. It does sound very cool. I mean, you know, I would still get involved if they relaunched Gorkamorka, because I feel like it could be very cool. You know, it's one of the systems that they haven't renewed yet and sort of reinvested in, because you've also got that, you've got Battlefleet Gothica and Mordheim, and I feel like that's three that a lot of people would be interested in. So hopefully GW do that at some point. Big Brain, Arizona looks like the movie Cars. Big Brain, I'm sure it doesn't when you actually go there. Tiny Lord, I'm sure you'll enjoy a break from the British weather based on what I'm hearing. Yeah, well, do you know what? It's not too bad today. It's really not too bad today, Tiny Lord. But it's still a little bit warm, so you know, it's becoming more tolerable though. We just need the rain though. Troynal, my off season is basically November to Feb, so I don't really see much. Don't see much of snow-covered Europe. Fair enough. I don't really go anywhere when it's snowing. I don't really go to other parts of Europe when it's snowing. Yeah, I usually go to sunny countries, although I feel like this year, because it's too ridiculously hot around Europe, that it's taken the wind out of the sails a little bit. Boom Creature, I would love a remake of the 54mm ink. Oh yeah, completely forgot about that one. But in 28mm scale, maybe under the Warhammer Quest range. That would be cool. That is a good idea, Boom Creature. That is a really good idea. How did I not think of that one? I completely forgot about that one. I feel like that might have been a game that I was less interested in because the miniatures were a bigger scale. But in 28mm scale would be fantastic. Let's paint this bit of statue. One of the more recent releases that I really did enjoy though was Blackstone Fortress. Again, not for a gameplay aspect, because I don't play the game, but in terms of the miniatures they produced for Blackstone Fortress, I thought they were absolutely fantastic. I mean, how can you go wrong having, you know, taking like Warhammer Quest and making it 40k. I feel like you can't go wrong with that. And some of those miniatures, to date, are probably still some of my favourites. Yeah, I'd love to see that revisited in some way, like maybe with a new box set with expansions. I feel like could be really cool. Big Brain, I have personally been to Arizona and New Mexico. Nice. I still need to do that. Still need to do that. Chonal, yeah, me neither. That's what Southeast Asia's for. Graham, I think New Mordheim terrain would be a seller. I think so too. I think terrain in general would be a good seller. I did change my thoughts, actually. I did change my thoughts on the scenery that Games Workshop recently released. So they had the pre-painted terrain, which I was a little bit worried about because having a look at some of the pictures, the quality wasn't quite as good as other terrain that they've made. So it's a little bit grainy because obviously it comes pre-painted, and whatever method they use to pre-paint the terrain affects the quality slightly. But, you know, I don't think they made it well known that you could buy an unpainted version of the terrain and paint it up yourself. Because the unpainted version of the terrain is the regular high quality plastic stuff that you're used to. And that stuff I will get, you know, that stuff I'll get and paint up and use on different boards and stuff. But I feel like they didn't do a fantastic job of letting us know it was there, you know? I found out not long ago at all that you could get unpainted versions of that terrain. I want a 2000mm scale Titan. You'd be waiting a while for that, Big Brain. Though if the rumours are true and we end up getting a plastic Warlord Titan, I am really hoping that I can get hold of 2 of them for the throne room. They've got to go either side of the Big Brain gate, I think. What do you think, Big Brain? It's your gate. I reckon it needs some Titans either side of it. Okay, so we're pretty much done with our statues now. I just need to go and get this stray one. And then hopefully one of them should be dry. They do take a little bit longer to dry when they've got the medium on them. But if they're not, and he's not ready to go, I will just start painting some of these canvases. So let's go liberate this other statue. Then I will take another look at chat, so bear with me. It's Thirsty Work streaming. Alright, cool. So, where's our last statue? See, I'll show you guys some of the other stuff that I've got kicking around here, actually. Because I've got so much stuff when it comes to building terrain that I think some of this will be our second table for Hobby House when we get to it. We've got these pieces as well. Got the satellite array, and then got the Mechanicus. I don't know what it is. It's not bunker, is it? But and there's 2 sets of these as well. So 2 of the antenna and 2 of the bunker. But obviously I can't fit all of this into the one table. So we're going to have to come up with an idea for table 2. Also, lots and lots of pipes as well. Absolutely tons of pipes. So let's do this. Let's have a look at chat first, actually, before it goes past me. Yeah, did I say Warlords? I meant Warhounds. Warhound Titans, Graham. Good point. Blackstone Fortress seemed to reintroduce so many mini-factions. Kroot, Traitor, Beastmen, Ratlings, Dark Mechanicum, those wiry guys. Yeah, but we need more Dark Mechanicum, because those are the only thing we've had, and that was, you know, a while ago now, Blackstone Fortress. So we need to take another look at Dark Mechanicum. Tiny Lord, I forgot it's the Big Brain Gate. It is. It is. Big Brain bought 100 subs, so it's the Big Brain Gate now. Choinal, if they make plastic War Doggo, I'll probably get one and play it exactly once. Yeah, but it's the painting it that's going to be fun, Choinal. It's the painting it. Hey, Glenn's here. Hello, Glenn. Nyla's only question, if you were stuck on a desert island for 7 days and 7 nights, on the 8th day you will be rescued. Which celebrity would you choose to be stuck with, living or dead? Oh, which celebrity would I choose to be stuck with? I feel like I would like to be stuck with someone who is smart, someone who could, probably someone who could hunt and forage for us. So I'd probably say like Bear Grylls, just because in terms of survival and keeping us both alive, I think he'd be really good at that. So that would be my strategic pick, I feel like. If we were going by interesting, not that Bear Grylls isn't interesting, but if we were going by like someone that I would find very interesting, probably Brian Cox, the scientist. I feel like that you would have some interesting conversations, even though he'd be like way smarter than me. I feel like you could have an interesting conversation. Big Brain, have the Titans such that the gate can open it? Well, yeah, Big Brain. We're still gonna do that, and they should be able to fit through it because I measured it. Graham could elevate the second landing pad. Exactly, Graham. I'm thinking about making the ground level a bit more uneven, because for this part I kept it mainly flat. You might not be able to see too well just because the angle of the camera, but it's not dead flat. You know, there are raised areas. We've also got our craters and everything, but progressively, as we get up to you know, the hive wall, the ground is going to get more uneven. But it's going to be done in a way that you can move the tables around and they still make sense. Pardon me. Well, for most of the configurations. Obviously, if you put the hive city in the middle, it's going to be a little bit strange. But yeah, that is a good point and a good idea. Tiny Lord, I don't think I'd want to spend 7 days next to someone dead. Yeah, I agree with Tiny Lord on that. I think that could make the experience even worse. You know, it'd be like that Swiss Army Man film. Choinal, but the drink choice, what, for being stuck on an island? Oh, well, what would I have? I really like this very bougie water drink called Dash, which is essentially just carbonated water with fruit in it. So I'd say just like a massive crate of them, because you're going to stay hydrated and it tastes really good. So yeah, that's my answer for that. Now, there's only question, which Necromunda army is the best to start with, Enforcers or Orlok? Oh, Glenn, do you know what? One of the other regulars would be way better answering that question, because I just go by rule of cool. You know, I like the way the miniatures look. I have no idea how they play, absolutely none. I mean, my gang of choice firstly would be Cawdor, just because I feel like they look pretty cool, and they are scum. And they get the Redemptionists as well, I think, or you can use the Redemptionists with them, and Redemptionists look cool. Secondly, it would be Enforcers, because, you know, big shield, baton. Yeah, with Bear Grylls, it'd be the water. It would be the water. Got to stay hydrated. Probably not the answer you're expecting, but it would be the fruit water. It's the quality of the conversation I'm going to have, not necessarily the drink. Oh, yeah. No, we're not doing that, China. We are not doing that. He's like, would you like a drink? And I'm like, yeah, you're alright. I'll be okay, I'll get my own. Thanks, Bear. Big Brain, clean Norwegian tap water is the only drink you need. I bet you that tastes good. I have a feeling that Norwegian water would taste really, really good. Hopefully I'll get to try it at some point, Big Brain. Tiny Lord, nah, 7 days of Dr. Pepper exclusively will do me. What, sugar? Dr. Pepper laced with sugar. You'll have no teeth by the time you leave the island, Tiny Lord. Because I don't think you're going to be stuck with a toothbrush. But it is your choice. It's absolutely your choice. Okay, let's load up with more of this for the last statue. And then we should be able to get going with the lilac oxide, which again we are going to also water down with some medium. Graham, lol. I'm just overthinking it. I know it's just a question. I don't really need to think about it that hard, but yeah, that's the kind of thing that crosses my mind. Like, oh, I can't have Coca-Cola. Anyway, I don't know who drinks Coca-Cola, but you couldn't have full fat Coke because it'd rot your teeth. Also, I can't go back to drinking that stuff now. I think when you have like Diet Coke or you have carbonated water, like Coke just tastes nasty. And it makes your teeth all gritty. Right, so let's get this last one coated up. Surprised, touch wood, that I haven't made too much of a mess today. Got a little bit of paint on my fingers. Probably could have worn gloves, but hey. Okay. So, at least we're making some good progress. Got off to a bit of a rocky start this stream. I haven't even bothered plugging the mic back in because I think this the Mac seems to be working alright for now. And I don't want to mess it up for the rest of the stream. So I think we're just going to stick with the laptop mic today. If it's all the same with you guys. Big Brain, I have tap water, so that's Big Brain's choice, some tap water. I think it's a very valid one. It is a valid one. Unfortunately, tomorrow I won't have much time to do any work on the board because I have quite a busy day tomorrow. So I'm hoping that come Tuesday I will be able to get the last little bits done. Just so maybe, I'm not going to promise anything, but maybe we can start together working on section 2 of the build on Wednesday's stream. But we will see how it goes. It's fine, I'll have Steven Spielberg as my celebrities. The royalties from the movie he makes will pay for new teeth. Ah, that's even smarter. That's even smarter. That's depending on whether he chooses to make the movie, though, Tiny Lord. What if your personalities don't quite get along and he just doesn't want to think about your time stuck on the island ever again? What if he's like, nah, you know what? I don't want to bring that up again. Big Brain, how deep of a hole will you dig to bury myself in on the island? Okay. I've certainly got more paint on my hands than I was expecting to. Oh, what do we have? Alex Histon subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much for subscribing, Alex. Welcome to the channel. As I've said earlier, we are going to have another video up fairly soon as this section is done. I've got a bunch of footage that I've been recording every time I've been working on the project. So I know a lot of you guys in stream are going to have seen this mostly firsthand, but I'm still going to cobble together a video talking about it. And just show you guys behind the scenes as well, all the stuff I've been doing when I haven't been streaming. I feel like as I've been working on this project, time has absolutely been flying. It has. So I feel like I need to ramp it up a little bit and just get moving on section number 2. Just because by the time we get to our... Pardon me, my voice went then. By the time we get to our Hive City section, that's probably going to be the busiest area of the build. So I just want to allow myself enough time to make sure it looks very decent and it's got all the details that we need. Yes, welcome Alex, says Tiny Lord. We have a lovely little community here, Alex. We do. For any of you watching who are new, as well as Alex, we have a Discord for our little community where we just kind of show what we're working on. I show pictures of the various projects that I'm working on. And it's open to everyone. So if that tickles your fancy, there is a link in the description to this video, and you can find us all over there. Is video first hand? I feel like the live stream is first hand. I know it's not in the flesh, but I feel like the live stream, sorry, you're seeing it being done in real time. So that's the way I like to think about it, anyway. So for those of you regular guys, you've seen a lot of this done in real time. But the video is just going to kind of recap and maybe show you some parts of the construction process that you haven't seen. So yeah, hopefully it'll be interesting even if you do watch the live streams. Yeah, I know, Big Brain, it is secondhand. You're not here with me, but you are kind of here with me. You're not in the studio with me, but you're watching via live stream, so it's good enough. It's good enough. You all know what I mean anyway. Yet again running out of paint, even though I put loads on the palette. Okay, one of these should be dry enough to stick the lilac oxide on, and we can keep the factory line going. But I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like with these statues stuck on the pillars. I feel like it's pretty impressive. And we've got some of the bigger statues. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the spear. What's that? The guy holding the spear, and then you've got the what are they? They're the big statues from one of the Imperial Sector kits we used to be able to get. But we're going to have got 4 of them, I think, that I can use. So we're going to have a few of them nearer the Hive City. Maybe outside the front, but maybe inside. I haven't decided yet. So we're not done with statues yet. I hope you guys aren't bored of statues. Parasocial relationships. It's dark. That's so dark. I mean, you guys are watching me, huh? It's not the other way around. Oh, that's so dark. I love it though. I absolutely love it. It's like I said though, I consider this more of a hangout, not a parasocial behaviour. Big Brain, for all I know, this could be pre-recorded with incredible foresight. Are you implying that I have psyker abilities, Big Brain? Because, you know, I feel like that's a very heretical comment. Imagine that, though. I managed to record it, pre-record it, and just guess everything you guys are going to say. I don't think you guys are that predictable, to be fair. I think I would really need to just have some precognitive abilities for that one. Let's get a bit more blue. I just want to make sure he is completely covered because I don't want to have to come back after the fact and give him some more paint. So this stage that we're going to move on to is kind of where things start looking a bit better because we apply our lighter coat of lilac oxide. So we really start getting that proper verdigris look once it dries. Rover Mars Rover, he's admitted it. Get him. Send in the Inquisition, boys. Choinal, dispatch the black ships. Guys are on it. Oh, there we go. Nearly dropped him again. Actually, yeah, to be fair, we're actually chatting, so it's not really... Exactly, it's not one-sided. Not one-sided at all. I like chatting with you guys. This means I'm not sat here awkwardly painting. We are all faceless, but are you? Are you? I don't think you are. There's actually no one. You guys are just bots. You're very advanced bots. Okay, Nylak. Imagine that. You guys are just AI models or something. You're all AI. None of you are real. Okay. Ah, I lost my own chat. Wait a second, we're having some technical difficulties here. I just lost my own chat. Here we go. Back again. Alright, cool. So yeah, we'll get our coat of... you guys want to see what it looks like? With, which one's dry? Is that one dry? Nearly dry. But this is basically what our primary coat does to the statues. So it's just kind of a darker, what I consider verdigris undertone. So I'll put the lighter one on top of this, the lighter Nylak oxide, and then by the time we get to the dry brush, it looks pretty damn good. Tiny little big brain, I literally picture you as a living paperclip. Big Brain has had that for as long as he has been on the live streams. He's always had the paperclip. That's how I imagine him as well, Tiny Lord. Glenn, Nihilus only question. If you could click your fingers and be fluent in a foreign language, which one would you choose and why? Well, I could answer that one easily, Glenn. It would be Italian. It would be Italian because Italy is absolutely beautiful. And any excuse I can use to go to Italy again, I will be taking. I've been to Italy twice. I've been to Florence and I've been to Rome, and well, Florence is absolutely beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So is Rome, but Florence is probably my favourite place I've been to in Italy at the moment. But basically, there are so many places in Italy left that I want to go to, and I would love to be able to speak Italian fluently. I know very, very bare bones stuff, so that would be what I would choose, basically. Choinal, a bit too blue for me. That's fair enough. The effect will be knocked back, Choinal, so it's not gonna constantly look like that. Not to worry. Tiny Lord, yeah, I'm ChatGPT 12.4. What does that make the other guys? Big Brain, I'm not Clippy. Choinal, maybe if you heavily dry brush. Well, this is what it looks like, Choinal, once it's done, pretty much. Let me make sure I get the right one, because that's the one. So this is what it looks like once it's finished. Let's see if that decides to focus. So yeah, once it's had its Balthazar Gold dry brush, it really knocks back the blue and knocks back the oxide, so it looks much more natural, like the deposits have formed in places it would. Fragai, Tuscany is awesome, love to be there. It is, it really is. I remember going to the viewing point in Florence. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a place that a lot of tourists go, and I think some locals go because it's just when the sun sets, it's really, really beautiful. And looking at the sort of countryside in Tuscany and seeing outside of Florence and then seeing the city, just perfect. Really, really, you know, a sight to behold. Big Brain, is it? It is a thing Louis Rosman started. What was that? Clippy? Glenn, so not Japanese then? No? Why would you say Japanese, Glenn? Why would you say Japanese? I'd like to go to Japan. But no, Italy. Italy. The food, the country, the sun. That's for me. Big brain, if I had patience, I would learn Japanese. It would be cool. It would be cool. Alright, so let's move forward anyway before I get too distracted, which I am liable to do. Oh no, I missed the back of this statue. Would you believe it? I missed the back of this statue. Okay, well, it's not the end of the world because these other ones haven't quite cured yet. Cured. Cured. I'm thinking of Italy because I'm thinking of cured meat now. Let's get some more paint. Yeah, so it'll give these statues a chance to dry a little bit more because they're not drying as quickly as I thought they would. Cure. I'm such a fat ass. I'm just thinking about food now. I feel like most of the streams end up me talking about Warhammer and talking about food. Or you guys teasing me with food because I'm always hungry. Okay. Let's clean this off. We need a little bit more medium and then we're good. So, let's see. So yeah, these are, that's what they're going to look like. And we'll have the whole row of them, including the broken one, which I'm going to tie the broken top half into the ash waste somewhere down here. And I'll blend it in using some, probably, I think it's Armageddon Dunes, the textured paint. I'll blend it in with that and then we'll add some pigment powders and stuff so it'll tie in nicely. But I feel like they are going to look much better than what was on there before because, well, before there was spikes. And I've always felt like if you're bending down looking at the table or you're picking up miniatures or checking out, you know, lines of sight or whatever, you could gouge your eye out. So it's going to be harder to do it with those statues. Glenn, you've missed pizza. I mean, yeah, pizza is fantastic. I am definitely a fat ass for pizza. 100%. Big Brain, I can read hiragana and katakana. Well done, Big Brain. That is very cool. That is very, very cool. Nihilus, only question. Did you put mayonnaise on my pizza? Glenn, what do you think? What do you think? I will let you take a guess. I will let you take a guess. And I bet you could get it right, Glenn. I bet you already know the answer to that question deep down. I don't understand what I say, but I can read it. That's good. I know that, well, I've been told by my brother there's very much, you know, it's two different things, learning to speak Japanese and learning to read Japanese. Because my brother has taught himself to speak Japanese, but he can't read it as well. So I know there is that they are two very different things, but it's still cool nonetheless. Okay. Let's get a wee bit more. Definitely going to need to put this on the shopping list, some Lamian medium, next time I go anywhere near GW. Okay, so. Cool. Let's get to it. Don't want to get too much pooling. I find in some areas where I slather on a little bit too much, I get a little bit of pooling, which I don't want too much of. I picture Glenn as the Riddler. I know, I like Glenn's questions. I think they're interesting and they kind of they make me think. He could be sat there with his green outfit on, his question marks all over him. But I feel like his questions are probably too normal, I guess, to be the Riddler. But you never know. It's fun to be able to read some things in anime. I bet you it's cool being able to, pick up a Japanese comic or a Japanese graphic novel and read it. Graham, my list Chaos Black Primer, Lead Belcher, and always a pot of Saltec Green. Can never have too much of that chapter colour. What are you painting? What are you painting with that, Graham? What chapter are you going for? I don't think I've actually used Saltec Green. What has a face, 2... Oh, you've got him started now. You've got him started. What has a face, 2 hands, and no mouth? That's a clock, Glenn. I'm guessing that's a clock. Okay. So is there anything you guys particularly want to see on this board? Like, is there... I know the hive wall is probably the most requested. I can't remember which one of you it was, but I know that one of the previous streams, one of you was getting rather impatient for the Hive City wall. But what kind of things do you want to see? Like, what other little additions? Frag, I just started to cut my second vault for the kit bashing. I'm so scared. Frag, you've done a great job on the first one. I'm sure you will nail this one. You should also have your transfers pretty soon. Although, I'm sure you're not going to need them for a while if you've just started kit bashing. Correct, I got it. I'm not usually good at riddles, but I feel like, yeah, I feel like I knew that one. Big Brain, with my Japanese level, it would be a pain to read manga. Just got to keep practicing, surely, Big Brain. You get better and better and better. I use Saltec Green to edge highlight verdigris. Oh, okay. I don't think I'm going to edge highlight any of this verdigris, to be fair. But that does make sense. That checks out. In fact, with this project, I'm trying to do as minimal edge highlighting as possible. I'm trying to do a lot of weathering, so I don't have to edge highlight. Just because when it comes to terrain, like granted, okay, I'm edge highlighting bits for the Golden Throne, but it's fine because I've got no deadline, I can take as long as I want, yada yada yada. But with this project, I've got to be a little bit more timely, so I don't want to have to edge highlight anything. Or as little as possible. Big Brain, I want to see a motor. You will indeed, Big Brain. We'll call it the Big Brain motor. Glenn, we got impatient for sad chair. You did. You did. I think old Frag Eye's nearly done sad chair. A little addition to this build. Because Frag Eye is building us an actual sad chair that we can use on the board. Graham, homebrew chapter, Saltec Green over Chaos Black is my colour. It shifts with the colour of the bulb. Sorry, shifts with the colour of the bulb. Daylight soft, white shifts from blue to green. That does sound very cool. We need a happy chair, sad chair model in the build. We're getting one, Big Brain. Frag Eye is working on one. I'll try new things with that. Mainly want one proper landing gear. Well, you may as well. You may as well go all out. I mean, the first one looks really good. So I'm sure you will nail the second one, Frag Eye. The chair will be shipped soon. I am so keen for the chair. I am so keen for the chair. It's gonna be such like just a niche little in joke that is actually gonna be on the table. I love it. I absolutely love it. Rover Mars Rover, I forgot about sad chair. Hashtag never forget. How can you forget about happy chair, sad chair? What else do we have? Tiny Lord made a lunch pit stop at McDonald's and they have a play place. Don't get them in the UK anymore. Oh, there's some by me. But I'm a bit too old now, a bit too big to go down the slide in the McDonald's play area, I think. Might get thrown out. Glenn, if I could take any celebrity to Desert Island, it would be Sad Chair. I don't know if he's a celebrity yet. We're a stream that has, on average, like 12 people watching, I think. So I don't think Sad Chair has got anywhere near celebrity status yet. landing gear is useless anyways. Oh yeah, what's the backstory with the chair? I wasn't there for that. You weren't, Tiny Lord. I think it was maybe Toby started it off. Just, you know, asking about the chair. And I said, sad chair. He's not sad chair. He's a very useful chair. It's useful because I can fold him up and move him out the way. And I was saying I don't really need one of those big streamer chairs. I'm quite happy to have a little fold-up chair that doesn't get in the way, basically. Yeah, I don't exactly plan to get... sorry. Yeah, I don't exactly plan to get one. Just nostalgic to find one. Okay. There we go. See, that's pretty good. So we can let him dry now, although he's a little bit sticky on the bottom. Let's see if any of these are dry enough to put some Nilak oxide on. Frag-Eye, the main purpose of Valkyries is terrain pieces, so they need landing gear. Yeah, isn't. It's funny that you bring that up, actually, because my Quilla Lander that I was painting a few weeks ago, that is going to be one of the pieces that I use on the second section of the build. So I'm going to try and tie that into the Nomads camp somehow. Because I've already painted it, you know, it's all completed, it's all ready to go hidden under there. So I just need to find a place for it now. I suppose I could show you guys just while it gives those statues a minute to dry. I was very happy with how this turned out. I will show you the cockpit, or what's left of the cockpit. Let's see how well this... Oh! How well are you going to pick up? It's still focused on me, isn't it? Do I need to, like... So I'll tie it in better than, you know, because basically the base is not the same colour as what I've done for the ash waste, so I'll tie it in with some pigments and stuff like that. But I was really happy with how that came out. Again, that was when I started using my newer airbrush, and it works really, really well, and I love it. Alright, what else do we have here? Glenn, I'm a celebrity sad chair, get me out of here. Do you know what? It might get to that, because the kind of celebrities that they use on that TV show now are people that mostly I've never heard of, so sad chair could probably be one. Frag-Eye, the main purpose of... Oh yeah, so they need landing gear, yeah. Well, they do look like good terrain pieces as well, Frag-Eye. I can't argue with that. Cool. Alright, so let's see if we have a statue that is dry enough for some Nilak oxide. I think we're good enough to go on this one. And we can always do it bit by bit anyway. It doesn't need to be all coated in one. So let's do it. There we go. There's another one though, ready to go. Which one was it? Him. Cool. So yeah, let's do it. Don't forget, for those of you out there who enjoy the stream, who still have not been convinced yet to become a green name, if you want to see these more often, and you are enjoying the live streams, the best way to support them is to become a green name, because it makes it more viable for me to do them often. And you are supporting the channel, so I very, very much appreciate it. He is a celebrity to me. Should I just bring him to Hobby House when I bring the table down? Got miniature PTSD of you trying to hold stuff up. Yeah, I know, it still happens. It's because it picks up my fat head instead of the miniatures, which is really annoying. But the good news is I put pictures on the Discord, so you can see high quality pictures there. I mean, having full Imperial Guard army as terrain for Necromunda is not overkill, I would say. I'd love to do that. I would love to do, like, the remnants of an older battle. So just have, like, Leman Russes destroyed, Valkyries destroyed, bunch of skulls, skeletons, everything rusted and weathered. I feel like that would be a very, very cool board. Because lots of the time you see these, like, battlefields and There's not much on them. Like, you can see there's, I was going to say, you can see those craters. But there's no, like, remnants of the battle before, so I would really like to do something like that. Big Brain, green name is useless. It's not Big Brain. The reason I do these streams, and the reason I get to do so many of these streams, is because of the green names. So, it's not useless at all. You keep it going. You absolutely keep it going. Nihilist question, talk us through your ideal Italian meal. Starter, main course, dessert, obviously with fruity sparkling water, beverage of your choice. Well, it would be the sparkling water, because I very, very much like the fruity sparkling water. But starter would probably be bruschetta, I reckon. Or, no, caprese. Sorry, caprese as my starter would be lush. Ooh, for a main. For a main, it would have to be a pizza of some kind, like a proper pizza. I'm not sure off the top of my head what I would choose for a proper Italian pizza. But I guess when in doubt, go for your standard mozzarella and tomato. You can't go wrong with that. So it's essentially 2 portions of mozzarella and tomato, and then a tiramisu to round it all off. A nice Italian tiramisu. Oh yeah, yes, Tiny Lord, yes. Well, the dropped custodian is Big Brains. It's funny, right? Because Big Brain will say, "Oh, green name is useless," but Big Brain has his own custodian, and you know, Big Brain bought 100 members for the channel. So I think Big Brain is just telling a fib. I think he thinks that green name is useless, but that's just because he doesn't want anyone else to be a green name. See, Big Brain wants to be my main focus. He doesn't want to be overshadowed by anyone else with a green name. I feel like that's what it is, really. That's the true reason. Glenn, if I came to a channel meetup and Sad Chair wasn't there, I'd be a sad subscriber. Would you know what we could do, Glenn? Is if that happened, I would ask your permission to take a photo of you, and then you would become an emoji on the channel, and then we could have Sad Glenn emoji. How would you feel about that? Okay, let's get some oxide on this. Hopefully not too watered down. May have watered it down a little bit too much, but let's see what happens. Glenn, that's why they call him Big Brain. See, yeah, he's thinking all these steps ahead. Big Brain likes that we talk about him when he is not on stream. He likes to be mentioned. That's why he is a green name. But in all seriousness, it is appreciated. Being a green name does actually help me do more of these. Because it just means I can afford to spend more time doing them. And I do enjoy doing this. Like, I like making terrain, I like hanging out with you guys, so even if you choose not to become a member, I got all the links down below. I got affiliate links to Hobby House, I have brush links, I have Patreon, Airbrush, so you can support the project in other ways if you don't want to become a member. I have put a dreadfully small amount of paint on the palette for Lilac Oxide. It's already gone. I thought I had loaded it up, but we are already empty. I'd love it. I bet you would, Glenn. I bet you would. Alright, so we're going to have to get some more oxide onto our palette. And I've only just realised it's 10:30 already. Where did the time go? Where does the time go with these streams, honestly? It feels like I just started up a minute ago. Certainly doesn't feel like it's been 2.5 hours. But we've still got a little bit of time left to do some more, so since we are on this final push to get the board finished, or to get section 1 finished at least, we may as well put in a little bit more time this evening. Get some done. Rover Mars Rover, which would you prefer, Patreon or YouTube membership? Well, if I was going to break it down into what helps a little bit more, Rover, I'd say that for pushing the channel out there, I feel like more members helps that way. But in terms of money that goes straight towards the channel is Patreon. So I'd say probably Patreon is number one. But I feel like the more members tends to encourage YouTube to push it out a little bit more. But at the end of the day, it's whatever you choose to do, Rover. Whatever you choose to do, it's all helpful. Big Brain, Patreon is way better than being a green name. Patreon is, you do get more, as a creator, you do get more of the revenue, because Patreon only takes a small amount. YouTube takes half of becoming a member. So, yeah, I'd say Patreon. I know that was a very long-winded answer, but I would say Patreon is the one, Rover. Tiny Lord, that's also why he gave you hours of work. I know, exactly. We can see through this ploy. I keep forgetting to put my Lamia medium on here. Glenn, is there more stuff on the Patreon? There is. I tend to put specific posts on the Patreon. Most of the time it's more of an advanced look on the Patreon, so eventually stuff does go on like Instagram, and it does go on Discord and everything like that. But there is some other perks there. I also have like the merch stuff, depending on what tier you choose. So there is other benefits, and I'm hoping later this year to launch another shirt. So patrons at the top tier get that included. So yeah, there are other little things basically. Rover Mars Rover, Patreon it is. I really appreciate that, Rover. I really, really do appreciate that. I know I harp on about it, but in this day and age, you kind of have to, I suppose. You have to plug. I was going to say you have to plug yourself, but that sounds really, really, really bad. But yeah, you kind of have to do a bit of self-advertising. And it does really enable me to spend more time doing this, which is what I love doing. So always appreciate it. Don't YouTube take 30%? Do you know what? I think it depends, Big Brain. It really depends where you buy the membership, because it's not. YouTube are really good with it. Basically, YouTube, it's supposed to be they take 30% and they give you the rest. But the issue is where you get to Apple, because Apple take a cut of what you spend, pardon me, of what you spend on YouTube. So if you choose to support a creator, YouTube will take their 30%, and then Apple take another, I can't remember how much it is. But they feel the need to do that apparently, because you're buying it through the App Store or whatever. It's just a load of crap. It is. Apple don't need another reason to take more money off of you. Apple make enough money, and it just kind of winds me up a little bit, because when you are a smaller creator, why is it that Apple feels the need to take a sizable chunk of what someone is using to support you with, when they make plenty of money? Plenty of money. Glenn, you plug yourself on Patreon? It's not that kind of site, Glenn. We haven't quite got around to setting up that kind of site yet, Glenn. That was the worst choice of words, wasn't it? Plugging yourself on Patreon. Alright, so we will probably use, what are we on now, to half 10. I think I'll use this last batch of paint, guys, and then I will probably draw the live stream to a close. So even though we didn't quite get around to dry brushing again, it's definitely made my life a lot easier. Adraf, the music is ruddy mysterious. Thank you very much. Do you know what, Adraf? I get a lot of comments. There's 2 comments I've had about the music today. The music, if you are interested, is made by a good friend of mine called Sebastian Kling. You can find his channel on YouTube. He does lots of music. He's a very talented music maker. But this piece specifically fits the theme of what I am working on, so yeah, does the trick. It is ruddy mysterious. Yeah. Glenn, Nihilus, any question? Talking of plugging and apples, why straight to apples? What's your favourite fruit of all time? Favourite fruit of all time? Oh, I have not thought about that at all. What fruit do I like the most? I like banana flavoured stuff. Banana flavoured stuff? That's such a dumbass. Like, I like bananas, but I also like banana flavoured stuff. I feel like you can make a lot of good desserts out of banana. So let's go with banana. Banana's a good one. He's going to start posting. Yeah, the next live stream is just going to be Slanesh. The next live stream is going to be Slanesh miniatures. The gaming board will have just disappeared, and I'll be painting something with lots and lots of tentacles on it. Graham Mealkins, have a good night, lads. I'm out. Well, thank you for joining again, Graham. We'll see you soon. Awesome. Heading there now. How do you spell your friend's name? Sebastian, spelled Sebastian, the only way you can spell it, as far as I know. And then K-L-I-N-G. It should be the top account on YouTube, Adraf, sorry. Yeah, you should be the top one. Sebastian Kling. If I remember rightly, it's got him holding a guitar as his profile picture. Brageye, did you just say banana? Yeah, but banana for the flavour, not for the shape. Banana's good, or kiwi is really good as well. I do like kiwi too. I just don't really buy many of them. You like that one? Yeah, I do like kiwis as well though. I think kiwis are really nice. I just don't buy enough of them. I think I could probably benefit from buying more fruit than I do. I feel like I've always got good intentions when it comes to eating fruit and being healthy, but I always find some reason not to be. Okay, so we are nearly out of oxide here. Tiny Lord in with the chair. In with the Nihilus, Aquila and a chair. The ting called Grand Apple. The ting called Grande Apple in Norwegian. 2 kiwis and a banana, I suspect. Oh, Tiny Lord, that's bad. That's bad. That was not the... Chat filter check. Big Brain, I think I got it right. Oh no, it went back to top messages. Why did it go back to top messages? Probably missed someone in there. Apologies if your comment was missed. 2 kiwis and a banana. Bad, Glenn. That's bad. That's bad. I feel like you guys do this on purpose just to hear me say stupid shit. That's what you're really here for. You're like, oh, 2 kiwis and a banana. Of course you'd say that. Okay, let's make sure. Right then, chaps, I think that's going to have to do us for this evening's stream, just because yours truly has to get up for work tomorrow. Not as early as usual, but early enough. Thank you very much for joining me for tonight's stream. It's been very, very productive. Got off to a bit of a rocky start, like I said. But yeah, we are on the last little bit for this project. So I am feeling like hopefully come Wednesday we can work on the new section together. I've got the other board sections there ready to go, so maybe we can have a little look at some of the scenery and terrain that we could use on that. Otherwise, I'll put a few pictures in the Discord that I took earlier today, just of the bridges, so you guys can see some of the high quality images if you didn't catch what was it, the reel I done for Instagram, because I know all you guys don't necessarily use Instagram. Frag Eye, or one guy from New Zealand with a banana. You guys are deadly. You're absolutely deadly. Cool. So yeah, I guess I will just do the roundup, which is, if you enjoy what you see here, please like, just to tell YouTube that this isn't a pile of crap. Otherwise, you all know very well by now. I've got all the links down below. I will be back streaming again on Wednesday, Friday, and I will be on Sunday as well. So we will be continuing this push to complete this massive project. Obviously, the closer we come to finishing these first two sections, the closer we get to working on the Hive City walls, which I know most of you are keen for. And it is going to be the biggest part of the build and the most detailed. Big Brain, I don't know if I have any lectures tomorrow. The schedule is confusing. Well, you better double check that, Big Brain, especially if you're studying again, because you don't want to miss anything. Alright guys, so yeah, that being said, thank you very much for joining me on tonight's stream. I really appreciate having you guys here. It makes things a lot more interesting than me just sat here painting on my own. So thank you very much for that. Frag, I still have daddy time, so I'm desperate. I'm a desperate house husband. Well, I'm sorry, Frag, you're just going to have to post something on the Discord, because I got to get up for work tomorrow. You're going to have some screen time and doom scroll, or look at some ideas for that Valkyrie of yours. Alright, cool. So, thank you very much for joining me again, guys, and I look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. Alright, goodbye. See you soon, guys. Thanks again.